a player the Jags went around for a year or two. This is a player that they traded significant draft capital for, and a guy that they went around for 4, 5, 6, 8, 10 years, and a guy that they want to be a franchise cornerstone, and a guy that they want to be the face of their franchise along with Brian Thomas Jr., Trevor Lawrence, Trayvon Walker, and Josh Allen for the next couple of years. So when you break this down and think, what is the role realistically going to be for Travis Hunter? Well, I do want to clarify one thing. I don't think there's any chance that he's going to win both the offensive and defensive rookie of the year, the way that a lot of media people have tweeted out that there's a possibility that he does, and technically there is a possibility. The only way that that would happen is if the Jags put him in clear passing situations defensively, and that he finishes the year with 5 or 6 interceptions, and then also has a Brian Thomas Jr. type rookie year or a Malik Nabers type rookie year where he has 11 or 1,200 yards as a receiver. So realistically for Travis Hunter this year, obviously he's going to have a tremendous impact, and I don't question his stamina or his conditioning. It's more of his body holding up and taking those shots defensively against the big running backs in the NFL, whether it's, like you said, Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry, even Josh Jacobs from the Packers. You get the point. He is not going to want to, or at least the Jags are not going to want the number 2 pick in the draft, in which they traded the number 5 pick, the second round pick this year, as well as the first next year, to go out and take 15 of those types of shots per game, 17 games in a row. So realistically, I think Travis Hunter is in for at minimum an 800-yard rookie year as far as health goes. That's going to be a big one, as well as a couple of interceptions defensively. And again, the generational word is tossed around far too often, but it's not with Travis Hunter. Now, specifically pertaining to his talent, I don't think he's a generational talent in the sense of being a receiver. I don't think he's better than Ja'Marr Chase as a prospect for reference, and I don't think he's going to have that type of impact as a receiver in year one, or even Puka Nacua for that matter. But in the sense of him being able to play both sides of the ball, yes, that is generational, and again, borderline a once-in-a-lifetime prospect. The Jags selected Caleb Bransall, a DB from Tulane, near the end of the 3rd round, and Caleb Bransall is an interesting prospect, and he played a lot of slot corner at Tulane, though he is transitioning to safety at the NFL level. And with Bransall specifically, I don't think there's going to be all that much rookie production, mainly because there's going to be a lot of guys in front of him, but this was a prospect that tested very well in the pre-draft process as he ran a sub-4.35 and is also a really good tackler. Now, there were a couple of times where he was a little too sure of himself in coverage last year at Tulane, and there were times where he was beat in the process, and if that was happening at Tulane, then kind of I go with the thought process up here of what do you think would happen at the NFL level if he was getting beat during his time at Tulane. And again, there was a reason that he was a late 3rd round pick rather than a 1st or 2nd round pick. So with Caleb Bransall, I do think there will be a bit of a transition period, and I think he will eventually prove to be a solid starting safety for the Jags. I just wouldn't expect that, at least in the early parts of 2025, and I think the best case scenario for him would be starting by the week 11 or 12 area, have 5 or 6 starts by the end of the 2025 season, and then look to build on that in 2026 and beyond. Now, the Jags had back-to-back selections in the 3rd round as they selected Caleb Bransall at pick 88 and West Virginia offensive lineman Wyatt Milum at pick 89. And I thought Wyatt Milum was going to be the vision of James Glasgow and Liam Howard want for this team for the next couple of years. And with Wyatt Milum specifically, my only real concern for him in the pre-draft process was that a team was going to try and keep him out at tackle, and I don't think Milum has the foot speed to be able to play NFL offensive tackle, and I think he's going to be a much better guard than a tackle at the NFL level. I think there's a reality where the Jags walk out of this class with at least 2 starters in Travis Hunter and Wyatt Milum, and with Milum specifically, he kind of reminds me of another West Virginia offensive lineman that just had a good rookie year with the Pittsburgh Steelers in Zach Frazier. Now, I do think Frazier was a better prospect than Milum was as a guard, but I still think there's going to be similarities in the fact that they're both really high-forward players and that they can be tone setters in the run game moving forward, which is exactly what Jacksonville is going to want. So, for what the Jags did within the first 100 picks, I thought they did a really good job. And I also like what they did by drafting Bajel Tutin and Jack Kaiser early on day 3. Bajel Tutin is a very fun rookie running back. He's a fun prospect to think about because of everything that he can do within an offense. And when you talk about Liam Cohen's offense that gets the football and running backs hands and screenplays and manufactures such as, this is where Bajel Tutin's role comes in with the 2025 Jags. But the one big thing with Bajel Tutin as an NFL draft prospect, I kind of go back to the movie Moneyball, where it was, hey, Billy, this is Bajel Tutin. His biggest problem is fumbling the football. He had 9 fumbles over the last 2 years, and the reality is if he fumbles anywhere close to that rate, he will not be an NFL running back. Now, he also had 26th percentile hand size, and I'm not a huge hand size guy, but with a prospect that had fumbling issues and with small hands at the running back position, that is definitely noteworthy. Obviously, Kansas can get to be a very toxic conversation with quarterbacks. Anyway, that's a different conversation for another day. But Pedro Tootin has legit home run potential in his offense, and if he works out for all that week one, based on the tape that he showed at Virginia Tech, when again he was not fumbling the football, I don't think it's an exaggeration to say the Jags drafted a 1,000-yard running back in the 4th round. Now, we discussed the Jags' struggles in run defense earlier, specifically outside of Devin Lloyd, with Boyce Alua, Connor Crenshaw Miller, and Jack Last night was the NFL debut of wide receiver DB Travis Hunter. And in this video, what I wanted to do is kind of give you a kind of overview, break down the film, and show you how he looked in this game. I know he only had a couple of catches, but not too many yards. Defensively looked okay at times. But what I want to do again is break it all down for you so we can kind of deep dive into it. Now, on this first play, the offensive line is going to be in what we call a 5-man gap protection. They're going to five man right at man-to-man. The first thing that we need to understand is the defense of the Steelers, they're running a little bit of a scheme. This guy's going to the inside shoulder of the outside shoulder of the center. This guy's going to move around through that B gap. He's actually going to work really nicely here. As we're going to see, 35 to 1 with a quick snap over the middle. We got a go ball. At the top, we got a go ball. Bottom as well. They're just going to Tampa 2 defense where you got coach in the flats, you got some hook curls, you got mid-read, you got some key taps as well, right? So as they drop back into this, shell defense look, Travis Hunter does a good job kind of, boom, carrying the ball. Now, obviously, we're a yard short of that first down marker. 31 does a really good job closing out, not allowing him to pick up that first down. When it comes to a route, this is a two-route. This is a top, boom, quick, decisive, good hands. Now, what's funny is, bro, all camp, it feels like he's never wearing gloves. That's just something that he does, so when he does wear gloves, it's so much easier during the game. So, I think that's a smart way to train. He's the first play offense for Travis Hunter. Early first quarter, run the ball. Trevor Lawrence has actually been at practice saying, we need to get this guy on offense more. We need to get more reps with this first team offense. And I feel like just over the last few weeks, we're starting to see that a little bit more. So definitely a good sign for Travis Hunter fans. So we're going to break down a ton of clips. So make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe to the channel for